I'm not a brand. I'm a human being, and you are too. You see, every human knows yearning. Everyone. The same sentiment in a different font, but I don't know any yearning for being branded, for being minimized to a product, a niche, an aesthetic, an object of desire. I don't know the worship of manufactured personalities or things. The worship I understand is the kind that rests its whole weight upon my chest the second I lay eyes on it. It's in the rivers, the canyons, the forests, the bears, the wolves, the ravens, the dingoes, the elemental force that transcends all space and time. To see it, even from afar, is to speak to it in some way. There's the yearning. The yearning of unexplainable knowing. That deep rupture between canyons, that valley below, that gap in knowledge stings like a lightning bolt. Not all mysteries should be solved, so solace is found in the familiar. The sparrows that hop around the back garden each day, their knowing is their daily catch. My knowing is their arrival. Their knowing is the positioning of the hedges and wood chips. My knowing is the sensation of my feet in the soil. We've spent so much time reducing the things we shouldn't and collecting the things we're better off without. We erase other human beings that share our likeness and collect objects crafted by neglected hands, and so it continues. There's no uprising for change because, well, that would mean walking away from all the shiny things, forgetting that as a child, the world shone brighter than anything that could be bought. We saw the world through its own eyes. Born into it, yet still looking out from the womb. We'd take a designer bag, fill it with trinkets, and drag it along the forest floor, not yet hypnotized by symbols. That's what they are, symbols. We're supposed to believe they represent status, some kind of belonging, value, worthiness, some distorted reflection of our neurological hardwiring. But here, there is freedom of choice. Each will have their own idea of what gives them value. What is it for you? I imagine bare feet traversing the globe. I can see an exchange of touch, one hand upon another's chest, to feel another beating heart. Right there, we're the same in this realm of the living. That can't be branded. That can't be filleted into a niche and served up to disillusioned eyes. It can certainly be manufactured, but we're deeper than that. We're smarter than that. We're intuitive, all of us. We know. We just know. The idea that everyone can be categorized and aesthetically predictable is exactly why personal branding is a slippery slope. It's the same reason we don't go around using our job title as our name. A distinction must be present at the table. It's progressed to a point where people are almost forcing brands onto others as a form of projected anchorage, perhaps security in a world that seems anything but. A post popped up on my feed this morning with two pictures of Pamela Anderson side by side. The left is of Pamela makeup free. The right is her in her iconic 90s glam. The post quotes, "Poor thing gave into all the stupid commentary. After years of embracing a natural look, Pamela Anderson stuns by returning to 90s glam makeup." The caption raises the question, is she giving in to pressure or is she simply exercising her right to choose? And each post that followed under that topic questioned her identity in some way. Are her beliefs shifting? Is this a sign she's attempting to appeal to modern beauty standards? In this tangled idea of what it means for your persona to be branded, there hangs a warped belief that change isn't a naturally occurring part of living, and that any change must be manufactured or a conscious brand shift. These are the dangers of the personal brand. To expect consistency from a brand that produces your favorite snack is understandable. To expect the same unwavering change from a human, not so much. Does it speak to idolization of putting people up on a pedestal and expecting them to function like a machine? I believe it's all intertwined. It's all a product of the kinds of experiences we're having on and offline, these days mostly online. A theme has been taking root beneath us, and more we're seeing those roots claw at the surface, sprouting in ways beyond our control. The erasure of humanity replaced by artificiality. Yesterday, I saw a video of ravens playing in the snow, then a wolf crossing a road in Yellowstone. They were erased too once, almost entirely. Grey wolves were reintroduced to Yellowstone. My stomach just grumbled so loudly. Grey wolves were reintroduced to Yellowstone National Park in 1995 after a 70-year absence. Ecological balance was restored. Biodiversity grew through the cracks and bore fruit. I hope to see it all with my own eyes one day. Each encounter will be my own little token of success until what I was taught success is meant to look like means nearly nothing anymore. It's not to lose ambition, but to regain a sense of balance. Just like the wolves being returned to Yellowstone, there will be a deliverance to a natural wisdom. You know you're on the scent when your ears start to prick up. My wider hope for humanity rests there too, in the reintroduction of what it means to be alive and how multi-layered and complex we are, of liberated authenticity. So no, I don't subscribe to the idea of a personal brand in its entirety, but I don't turn my nose up at anyone who does. We align with the things that speak to us, and that is an ever-shifting process, like the grounds beneath our feet. That post, I feel like, is a testament to what it means to have a personal brand, to carry out a personal brand, to just brand your persona, basically. And I think there are too many blurred lines in that, as I said, just like walking around, and when people ask you to introduce yourself, you don't start with your name, you start with your job title. That is what I feel like personal branding can be sometimes when there are not boundaries. I understand presenting yourself in a certain way, but before we started associating that directly with the trend of, personal brand, not saying this stuff didn't exist before, but before it became kind of like its own little niche in a way, I think there was a lot more of a distinction between what a brand was and what a human being is. And this definitely rose up with social media and social media marketing, especially social media marketing, because people then became the brand. People then became the face of, then became the person that everyone would trust to buy things from, to be recommended products. And so therein, the brand emerges, the brand persona. And we can limit ourselves, we can box ourselves in, because when you become a brand, there are a set of unspoken and spoken rules that come with that. Things that limit who you are as a human being. And we are multifaceted, we are ever changing. And if you are human, which you are, I think, you are innately an ever shifting being. We are not the same people each day. We're always evolving and learning new things. We should be. And so when you become a brand, yes, brands evolve, yes, brands develop, but there are limitations to that. As a person, you can facilitate change. You can initiate change now. You can do it now. You can do it 5 minutes from now. You can do it a year from now. You can plant those seeds now. And you can make drastic changes. You should be able to, as long as they're obviously not doing any harm or disservice to anyone else. You've got to obviously use your discernment. But as a brand, it's not as easy to make those shifts. There's a lot more meticulous planning that goes into it. And that is why we see this kind of thing. I use Pamela Anderson as a reference because that's something that I saw literally this morning as I was finishing off this article for Substack, which you can read. I'll link it in the description. Basically, I used her as a reference because when I saw that, I thought that is the direct product of this belief in a personal brand, in someone being a brand first and not a human first. And even though Pamela Anderson, I'm sure with how in tune she is, she considers herself a human sentient being. But with everyone being sort of disillusioned by this idea of a brand persona, people project that onto her, as I said in the piece, as like some kind of anchorage, projected anchorage, a sense of security in a world that feels very unstable. And it is hurtful because people start questioning her identity. People just completely reject change as if their favorite brand had changed their formula. It's the same thing with a human. If they make a different choice that seems a little bit, left of field, people go mental about it. And people start questioning everything. And it's something as simple as a makeup choice, the choice to wear makeup or to not wear makeup. And I think it was specifically inflamed because it was a makeup look that is a direct ode, a direct nod to her signature 90s look. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, she's going back there. It's wild. And we have to consider who we're talking about, who we're talking to. This is another human being. How many times have you changed your mind on things? How many times have you woken up one day and thought, I'm not going to wear makeup today? Maybe you've carried that out for a week or a few months, and then suddenly you feel like wearing makeup. Suddenly you feel like doing a glam. Suddenly you feel like doing something different for a day because doing the same thing every single day gets a little bit old sometimes, and you just want a little change up. Imagine everyone and their mum and their uncle and their sister and their brother and their friend's friend pointing fingers, you've changed. And this is what happens when we tip too far in one direction. Personal branding started off as more of like an organization thing, as a way of presenting yourself in a professional environment, in a way of organizing yourself so that you are clear and concise. I understand that point of view, but as with everything, the scales tend to just sort of tip way too far over this way before they reach a middle point. We have nothing at all, we have too much, and then everything balances out in the middle. And this is what I think is happening now with the collapse of the influencer culture. I think people are gravitating towards the people that are not as branded. And even in my work as a voiceover artist, a few years ago, it was always, we want to sell. This read is high energy, hard sell, excited, very not how you would talk to someone. We're selling a product, we're selling an experience, we're selling this and that. Now, few and far between. I don't get nearly as many. Almost every single brief that I get is, even if it's an upbeat read, you're talking to someone. If I had to take a shot every time a client said to me, we want it to sound like you're talking to someone, I would be just in a hospital bed. I would be in a hospital bed because that's what people want now. They want to be spoken to, not sold to. And this is again where the idea of a personal brand collapses a bit, because there's lines that have been so blurred out, and once those lines have been erased, it's really hard to come back from that. But also not really, because all it takes is a little step back and to come back to who you are at your center. And we are so complex, and we keep dumbing it down. We keep things bobbing along the surface, and we miss out on everything that's happening. I mean, our brains alone are so complex and insane. I was reading studies because I'm going back into brushing up my meditation studies, as I've mentioned like 100 times, I feel like, recently. But it is insane how much you're reminded of how complex we are and how everything is interconnected, and it does make you think about these things and the psychological impact that it has. So hence the article. But those are my thoughts, and I do think it is important to remember that we are first and foremost human beings, and whenever you're feeling estranged from the world, I invite you to picture that, what I mentioned of holding your hand out and touching one another's chest where your heart is, and feeling the heartbeat, feeling the blood rushing, feeling the warmth, and feeling that that is what it is to be living. The fact that we're all here in this living realm. And are we really so different when we look at it that way? Not really. It's just a lot of us tend to stray a bit from the meaning of humility, of the meaning of connection. We are some of the most lonely people these days, and isn't that just the irony of that? I'll never get over. But we are. Studies show. Yeah, I think that's it. Without making this too crazy long, that is what I wanted to share with you. I encourage you to share your thoughts below in the comments, please. I love talking. I love seeing chat in the comments. So yeah, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Write it. Write your thoughts. Write everything. Be honest. And yeah, that's it from me. I love you, and I guess I'll see you next time. Ti amo e ciao.